Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. Are we unfair to our men in uniform? Whether they're police people or paramilitary or the army, are we unfair to them? Quite often it's being said right now that the men in uniform are being vilified. Look what happened in the case of Batla House and other things, and they don't often have the chance to defend themselves. Contrary view is that if they are being vilified in some cases, it's because they deserve it, because they are taking the law into their own hands and are not functioning in a terribly competent manner. So where actually does the truth lie? That's what we're going to try and figure out during the course of this particular program. And let me start by welcoming onto the program Mr. Neeraj Kumar, who's the Commissioner of Police here in Delhi, has faced his share of media attacks over the last couple of years, and has also come out in the recent past to say he thinks a lot of what we do, not just with you, but with the police in general and other men in uniform, is unfair. So we'll be asking you why you feel that way. Vrinda Grover, Advocate Supreme Court, joining us, who feels it is not unfair at all. In fact, they probably deserve a lot more. Well, Vrinda, I'm paraphrasing you before you will say it, but that's essentially where we can start off from. General R.K. Soni, who is a former Director General of Military Intelligence, former Deputy Chief of Army Staff. It's a privilege to have you with us as well. You did do a lot of work in Assam in handling insurgency, so you have a strong view on that. We have with us Salman Anisoz, who's a socio-political activist from Jammu and Kashmir, and we have seen these incidents just recently in Ramban, in Jammu and Kashmir, where the BSF in particular has been accused of opening fire, and that's led to a considerable furor in Kashmir and in other places. Singajit Hiram, it's again a privilege to have you with us. You're an activist. You're the brother of Imam Sharmila, who's been now on a hunger strike. For how long has it been by now? It's been
13 years going to complete in this November.
13 years she's been on hunger strike about the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, and also to raise awareness about excesses that are committed by men in uniform. So it's great to have you with us to talk about that. Somebody joining us from Ranchi with a different perspective, though, another person who has suffered, but on the other side. Sunita Induvar, who's the widow of Francis Induvar, who was, of course, killed by Maoist rebels. They killed him when he was in the course of when he was there on duty. They killed him, and they killed him in a particularly brutal manner. So Sunita, it's great to have you joining us. And let's get in a political voice as well. Meenakshi Lekhi from the BJP, thanks a lot for being with us here. And we are being joined by Professor Om Prakash Mishra, who's a member of the AICC, but has also been former member of the National Security Advisory Board. He's joining us from Kolkata. So thank you all so much for being with us. Can I start with you first, sir? You've repeatedly you've said in the past, and you've been saying it again in the recent past, that the way India treats its men in uniform, police in particular, is not something which you would see elsewhere. And you think that India, the media, public, tends to be a little unfair. Why do you feel that?
No, I feel that it's not only the police that we are unfair to. We are unfair to each other in general. You see, it is not our culture to appreciate each other. You would rarely come across somebody saying, oh, Vikram Chandra is a great anchor, But supposing...
Maybe they don't feel it's true.
In our country, I feel we lack the culture of appreciating each other. We lack the culture of patting each other in the back when we deserve it. And to use an old phrase of transaction analysis, we do not think it necessary to give positive strokes. It is more often than not negative strokes. And surely the people in uniform are at the receiving end as far as this is concerned. I feel it is mainly on account of the fact that we know very little about each other.
Okay.
I'll give you an example, and I'm so happy that General Soni is here. A defense minister some years back, he noticed that certain proposals that the army had submitted for, if I'm not wrong, snow scooters, where people were taking it as a general proposal and so on. So he said, all of you who are dealing with this file, all of you go to Kargil when it was winter at its peak. those people went, came
I've
back.
been to Siachen, I can tell you it immediately
Yes.
makes you want lots and lots of snow scooter. No, but your general point is that we
Yes.
tend to be far more negative, we tend to criticize without
let
giving
me just
praise.
complete this point because so once they came back, their perception about the army, their perception about the requirements, everything changed. So we more often than not, without realizing what the problems are, we are very fond of criticizing each other.
Okay.
And which is, I must say, not there in many countries of the world.
Okay. Vrinda, do you agree with that?
Not at all. Actually, I think we should frame it a little differently. Let's first be very clear. Men in uniform are authorized and use coercive, lethal force. They can put a person to death. That is the power that they are exercising.